Before we begin this video, for everyone with a Switch today, the Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes demo is now available. This isn't just a snippet of part of the game, this is literally the actual game up to chapter 4, and you can play each route as well. If you buy the game, your progress will carry on, so yeah, this is the real deal. Demo is free and the game comes out on June 24th. I only played a bit myself because I was working on this video, but I really like what I experienced so far. First off, music is damn amazing. Second, Shez, the new protagonist, has dialogue choices kind of like Byleth, but unlike Three Houses, they actually say a line based on what you pick. Literally, more words spoken in the prologue than Byleth in all of Three Houses. Third, the story differences are wild. Things are vastly different, so don't think this is just a retelling of the main game. One thing I'll say is that Byleth gets to speak in some full sentences, and just from a very brief appearance, I really enjoyed it. The Ashen Demon makes for a pretty good antagonist.
My name is Limstella. I am a puppet created by Lord Nurgle. As long as my mission is fulfilled, and Lord Nurgle is pleased, all else is irrelevant.
Alright, back to our newest Grand Hero battle unit, Limstella. They were created by Lord Nurgle and serve him faithfully. Limstella shares some similarities with Sonya, another of Nurgle's servants. They are a green infantry mage, and like Sonya, they are quite tanky for a mage. 41 HP, 39 attack, 23 speed, 32 defense, and 36 res. Limstella has an attack super boon, and that will be a great choice because they can really dish out some big damage. Their speed is low, so expect to get doubled, but Limstella has a way to defend against this. They then have pretty decent defense and res, and they can boost their tanking power further. I say all of these things because Limstella has a unique tome, the Morph Fimbulvetr. We only got so many Fire Emblem spells to choose from. Morph Fimbulvetr is quite strong with 14 might and another +3 attack. If unit is within 3 spaces of an ally, inflict -8 attack and res on the foe. The foe cannot make a follow-up attack and grants bonus attack equal to the total attack plus res bonuses on the ally, with the highest total attack plus res bonuses within 3 spaces. 3 pretty good effects. However, power comes at a cost for Limstella. If unit is within 3 spaces of an ally, after combat if they did attack, deal 15 damage to the nearest ally. Like Fallen Berkut, Limstella makes their team pay a price for the power of Morph Fimbulvetr. They only deal damage to allies if they attack, but this applies on player phase and enemy phase, where Berkut's is enemy phase only because he's getting distant counter. Is playing around the 15 damage worth it for Limstella? That is probably the main question here. Well, you got some pretty sweet trade-offs. -8 attack and res is a very big debuff, and that's just more damage and more taking power for Limstella. Follow-up prevention is one way to make up for their low speed, but obviously this loses out to free follow-up skills or no follow-up. Last, to dish out even more damage, Limstella has an ally blade tome effect. This one is similar to Nami's bow, but for attack and res field boss, and is half the power of Ashira's full ally blade tome. If an ally has +6 attack and +6 res field boss, Limstella gets +12 extra attack. This is a lot of damage here. 39 base attack, 17 might weapon, -8 res debuffs, and finally another, let's say, +12 attack in a good scenario. Altogether, that is 68 attack, and the enemy loses -8 res on top of that, and this is just with their weapon. Do not underestimate Limstella's damage output. For the rest of their base kit, it's fairly competent. Glaciers for big res stacking damage, defense res form for potentially another +7 defense res during combat with nearby teammates. Then there is sabotage attack for -7 attack debuffs if grouped up foes have less res than Limstella. Unlike some of our other sabotage users, Limstella isn't really stacking as much flat res. 36 is alright, but Morph Fimbulvetr isn't helping. I don't know if you want to use one of the flat res boosting skills just to proc one sabotage debuff. It doesn't hurt, but I don't think it's a necessary skill. It will stack with their -8 attack debuffs though. Overall, not a bad base kit. Defense res form is not easy to get, so it's nice to have on a free unit. It is a sacred seal though, and there were some other Forum A skills on the other free-to-play friendly units. Obviously, Morph Fimbulvetr is going to be the shining part of Limstella's kit. For merging, the neutral nature is going to give them +1 HP, attack and res. That's all good, but an attack super boon gets you a little bonus, and we saw how much damage Limstella can put together. Defense res boons aren't bad either if you want some extra tankiness. We get a ton of free red mages and a good amount of blue mages, but the devs have kind of forgot about green mages. We only have 3 hero girl options. Female Robin and Young Azura are infantry, and Picnic Leo being cavalry. They're all pretty old, so Limstella has a big head start without dragon flowers. They have basically no competition if you want a tanky green mage. As for summable 3 to 4 star options, well, there also isn't a lot of choices. Before getting Luthier and Orochi last year, we only had 5 year 1 green mages, or infantry mages. Again, Limstella stands out as the only one with higher defense and res, with Orochi coming close, but she focuses only on res with her unique Tiger Spirit tome. Limstella has a lot more base defense, and Morph Fimbulvetr buffs physical and magical tanking with attack debuffs. They have their own niche, and honestly, even without the unique weapon, Limstella's stat spread is one of a kind so far. Now, let's talk about playstyle and builds. Generally speaking, low speed with some tankiness automatically makes quick riposte a go-to. Until army units decide to share their million of quick riposte skills with other class types, that's kinda all you got if you want to double. Now, Limstella has a nice defensive perk in fallout prevention. It is a good way to stop doubles, but unfortunately, it's so good that most offensive attackers come with no follow-up or offensive no follow-up to disable it. It is a bit of a problem, and while many stronger tanks also have damage reduction like on many of the army units. Now, since Limstella can amass a ton of attack buffs, you could run double defense and res form skills. We are using Morph Fimbulvetr for damage and just stacking more defense and res. The tome does have a 3 space range, but forms have a 2 space range, and you need multiple nearby allies to beat out the other defensive skills. The downside to form skills is that you may end up hurting multiple allies with the 15 recoil damage. Like with other units with team damage, you either need to plan around this or decide if Morph Fimbulvetr's other perks are worth the trouble. Now for other skills, I would think about switching Glaciers to Glimmer or Iceberg. Mages do not have cooldown reduction unless you run certain units like Thor or you run Heavy Blade. As for Sabotage Attack, you can keep it, but again, 36 res is not going to attack everybody. I don't know if you want to use Fortress Defense and Res 2, although Limstella does have a lot of innate damage. Speaking of which, to get part of said damage, you do need allies with attack and res field buffs on them. There is one cheap buffing skill that grants both buffs, and that's attack and res link. Limstella would also get the benefits, which is pretty nice. For C skills, you got wave buffs, tactics, or the classic hones and fortifies. It might be better to find an attack and res boosting ally instead. Now, for Limstella, you could swap to attack-based forms or bond skills. If you just want to go all in on damage, that's totally fine. Res Smoke might be nice since they can prevent a follow-up on either phase, which means Limstella can initiate, survive, proc the res debuffs. Main issue is that they will probably lose out to quicker pose users and outspeeding. If you would like some field buffs, you can get Attack and Res Oath or Attack and Defense Oath, and you can use combo these with Attack and Res Ideal 3. These are all on some heroic grow options. For Circuit Seals, you could use solos since they have 3 spaces to play with. Something like good old Death Blow or Heavy Blade is also fine. Now, if you want to invest in the Morph, you can run the very popular setup of Tier 3 Dual Stance, low attack and res, quick riposte. Enemy phase heavy, but you add guard, you get field buff neutralization, and you still get a follow-up attack. Pair with a joint drive for more stats. If you want Defense and Res Unity, it just came out on Legendary Mirror, but Distant Defense 4 is another option for pure range tanking. I will say Attack Smoke 4 could work to stack debuffs and stack fall prevention effects. This does help against units who only use follow-up skills, but no follow-up doesn't care one bit. Besides this, not a ton of other options for the slower mages. They don't really get cooldown reduction besides Heavy Blade, and no damage reduction either. I will say that since Limstella has a ton of attack, maybe Vantage could work. I feel like a Vantage plus future Res Smoke 4 could be fun if they really give you something wild with the tier 4 smoke skills. If you want utility, LC Disrupt is an option, and a Rally plus Ruse combo could be nice. Limstella could rally a teammate with plus 6 attack and res, then they get their 12 attack from that. Now, the one C skill that buffs attack and res easily every single turn is attack and res gap. Unfortunately, it's only on the 2 Ileana ults, so very rare to get. Technically it's in the Divine Code shop, but I don't know if it's worth it for you. For some alternative playstyles, if you just want to have fun with general content, why not Close Counter? Fallout prevention is really good to have when all the generic enemies don't bypass it immediately. If you don't think the 15 ally damage is worth the hassle, you could honestly run the Amity Blooms Plus. It's a solid defensive tome, but it's only on Valentine's Alphons. Also unfortunate is that both green Pledgeon / Vulture tomes are 5-star only units. Remember, we get no free green mages as it is. Well, that means you don't really have a lot of inheritable tome options that are easy to get. Before we end, I do want to mention one specific ally that can solve a lot of Limstella's problems. That is Medeus. First off, he has an AoE attack and res field buff for nearby allies. That would give Morph Fimbulvetr plus 12 attack. Second, Medea's has Unguard as a status which negates out of combat damage, aka it stops the 15 damage penalty from the Morph Fimbulvetr. Unguard technically is a way to bypass this issue, but who knows if it will be more commonplace. Just something to think about though. So, should you promote Limstella to 5 stars? Well, first off, very unique stat spread for a free green mage. Pretty slow, but they have great base attack and a nice defense res balance for a mage. We're not breaking records, but mages typically just stack res. As for their base kit, defense res form and sabotage attack are nice, but it's Morph Fimbulvetr that is the standout. It's actually a fairly good weapon for a free unit. Big, -8 attack and res debuffs. Fallout prevention is great for a tank. The ally blade time effect is also awesome since it doesn't matter if Limstella's field buffs get neutralized. All of these activate just for having one ally within 3 spaces, which is insanely easy to meet. The big drawback is that your ally is gonna get hurt after Limstella attacks. That is not ideal generally, and if you're trying to use a near safe armor, they might be the one who loses that HP, which is not good. There are ways to take advantage of the out of combat damage, like on the new Ascended Florina, but these strategies require planning. Is all that worth the hassle to you? Is all of Morph Fimbulvetr's benefits worth it? The one thing that can relieve you of this is Unguard or consistently strong healing. I don't know if Unguard will be widespread enough, but it is funny that Medea's is sort of the perfect teammate for Limstella. Maybe you'll see a team of these two, but I wouldn't say Limstella is going to be super meta or anything. Regardless, very neat unit who has some very obvious downsides, but kind of backs it up with some really good effects. Again, you don't want to underestimate the damage output of Limstella. They can for sure mess up really low res units. Sadly, big single hit playstyles kind of suffer when damage reduction is all over the place. Still, they should be very fun for general content where no follow-up isn't as abundant. Maybe bring a healer though. That's all I got for this video. Have fun with Limstella and check out the 3 Hopes demo if you're interested. I will be playing more of it in the meantime. Next up, we will be looking at this month's Ephemeral Common Manuals. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.